Welcome to the Spring Ag Weather Outlook. I'm DTN meteorologist John Baranek. Today we'll take a quick look back at this winter and then focus on where we're going as we head into spring. We'll give some insights as to where the long-range forecast is telling us and what it might mean over the U.S. It has been no surprise that 2019 was a wet year. From flooding in the spring and summer to cold and wintry in the fall, producers faced many weather challenges, including leaving a large portion of the corn crop still standing in North Dakota and Minnesota. This winter has been overall quite warm across the entire country, while it has also been rather wet, especially for the Midwest through the Delta and Southeast. Trying to get the harvest wrapped up and an early jump into spring fieldwork will be difficult, at least to start. One large difference from last year to this one is the snowpack. While snowfall has been relatively similar to last year, the warmer temperatures have allowed the snow to melt quicker. In fact, there is limited snowpack over the eastern Dakotas, northern Minnesota, and northern Wisconsin compared to widespread snowpack over the region a year ago. This should give us a faster start to the spring instead of the prolonged soggy one we saw in 2019. In part due to the snow melt and the persistent pattern of rainfall in the east, most soils around the major growing areas are saturated. However, with the warmer temperatures through the soil profile, we have seen the ability for soils to drain more effectively, despite continued storm systems bringing additional precipitation. What that means, though, is an increased flood risk. However, it is looking at least marginally better than last year, as far fewer gauges, namely in the Missouri River system, are forecast into major flood stage. Looking ahead to the long-range forecast, let's first take a look at the tropics. Forecasts for March through May paint a neutral El Niño, which is a non-threatening situation for the main growing regions, and looks to continue at least in part into the summer. Other large-scale indicators are also neutral. This means the more subseasonal patterns will dominate, which are often more difficult to predict, especially with time. Looking at modeled upper air pattern through the end of April, you should notice a persistent trough in the west with a ridge in the southeast for March. This sets up a storm track from the southern plains through the Midwest, much like we saw in January into February. This would indicate a cooler pattern for the west and northern plains, with warm in the southeast and eastern Midwest, with a sort of battleground in between along with increased precipitation from eastern Texas through Ohio. The pattern loses its grip on consistency as we go into April, but still shows a somewhat similar pattern. The exception would be a trough over southeastern Canada as we go into the end of the month. This would suggest a more progressive pattern than March, but still similar in result with periods of showers moving through with systems. As far as the official DTN forecast, which includes years similar to this one, we continue the persistent pattern look for March with above normal temperatures across the east and below normal in the northwest. We are different in April as some colder shots look to move through the plains and Midwest and we lose the ridge in the southeast. For May, a ridge looks to build into the southwest, leaving a trough type look over the north. This is similar to the May of 2019 where cooler temperatures and more persistent rain fell in the northern plains and Midwest. As we move into the DTN forecast for precipitation, the storm track favors above normal precipitation in the southern plains, Delta, southeast, and southern Midwest for the rest of March, indicative of that persistent pattern. April looks drier in the northern plains and Midwest, but continued wet in the central and southern plains and southeast. In May, the northern trough produces increased precipitation chances for the Midwest while continuing above normal rainfall in the south. The Delta region looks to be continually impacted by above normal rainfall right through the end of May, causing continued delays to fieldwork and planting. Windows may be very tight in this area. In the northern plains and Midwest, soggy conditions may be a burden early because of soil moisture and late due to precipitation, with April standing the best chance at having more sustained periods of dryness to get the harvest wrapped up, fieldwork completed, and new seed in the ground. Windows appear tight in these regions as well. Drier soils in the western plains will have better chances at increased precipitation, helping with winter wheat development. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to know more about forecasting and consulting services from DTN, visit our website at www.dtn.com and sign up for a free trial.